this is a technical flaw in your system that needs to be fixed. And the common man, aka me, and thousands around the world, and you can search Reddit posts and forum posts, it's full of people like me who are trying to just do their jobs and their businesses and serve humanity and are wondering, why is it so fucking hard in 2025 to click support, talk to a human being, and get a fucking answer? Most of the immigrants I know in Singapore and foreigners I know in Singapore are very nice people. So why is this? I don't think this is a foreigner problem. Is it a Meta problem? I'm not sure. Perhaps it is. Why are you refusing to help people when they show up at your office? Shouldn't the first thing be, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Let's see how we can figure it out. Is that not basic decency? Human decency? I mean, is this strange? Am I speaking some weird alien language that you don't understand? Diversity and inclusion is not just about hiring people with different skin colors in your companies. It's about understanding as a species that not everyone works well from 9 to 5. Not everyone fits into a box. Not only the people who fit into boxes are the ones who deserve to be valued and taken care of. In fact, a large number of healers, teachers, guides, public speakers, trainers, coaches, therapists, and business owners who support the community and the world, including their mental health, their spiritual growth, their life success, and their balance in life, all work hours which are not 9 to 5. And not everybody's famous. If you just start ignoring those of us who are not famous, which is the majority of us, very soon, the world might go into an even deeper mental health crisis when the people who are holding it all together get mentally screwed because of things like this. This isn't just my story. It's the story of every small creator who's been failed by the very system they helped build. This is about business owners, teachers, and professionals being treated like real humans, not ignored just because we don't spend thousands a month on ads. This is day one. I'm going to keep showing up every day until someone at Meta acknowledges this case or tells me who can. So if you've ever been locked out, shut down, or ghosted by a tech platform you relied on, follow this, share this. You're not alone, and this silence cannot go unchallenged. Oh yeah, this is going to the press, by the way. I'm not sure they'll pick it up, but if they do, great. They're championing the small creator and the human being who looks for another path when the corporate 9 to 5 is not for that. Because I've done everything right. I followed the rules, I submitted every document, and still, no one in Meta has resolved this. So I'm showing up here publicly because I'm done begging quietly. Meta tells creators like me, use our platform to grow your business, reach your audience, build a brand. But when something breaks and when access is stolen, suddenly no one's responsible. And you're just left outside the building, talking to security guards, being handed a printed brochure with a useless URL. I'm not some anonymous spammer trying to grab access. I'm a real human being, a Singaporean creator, teacher, father, and I've acted on primetime TV. I've released singles, I've taught music, I've built courses. One of them is selling on my website right now, zephyrkambata.com/courses. I run one of Singapore's largest Facebook groups for local music. It's called Singapore Music, facebook.com/groups/Singapore Music. It's available at the URL. I don't understand. When I'm bringing you this much traffic, helping you this much, setting up groups with over 6,000 members inside, helping the community in Singapore, and being the Facebook guy, and even being offered jobs at Facebook before and being called up for interviews, what do you have against me? Exactly. And if it's not that you have something against me, then can somebody get a hold on this whole issue? Let's stop the bullshit now so I can proceed to help you and me continue life on Facebook. And you're telling me that if I just put a logo there of my company, which anybody can do, and type my company name at the top, that's going to make this a more official document, more official than the government of Singapore? A little Canva trick or a Microsoft Word trick is more official than the government of Singapore. Right. That's Meta's support team. That Facebook recently sent me a notification on my profile, which I've been using to great effect since I don't have my pages, and says, you have consistently been publishing quality content. We're increasing your reach. If you have that much visibility on what I'm doing, can't you see posts on my page with the same name as my profile are the same posts up to a certain time, after which I got hacked and I've made no more posts since then? Does that not strike you as odd? That this guy stopped posting and right then he's asking, hey, I lost my page. Can you give me back some access? And you're like, nope, no compromise has been made. it should be pretty easy to hire a few support reps to fix all this shit. And if it's not, I truly empathize with you. I've worked in companies that are truly clusterfucks as well. But hey, that's on you. I run my own company. You need to run yours. There's been no unauthorized expenditure. We can verify that. Like, great. Then how come when I log into my ad account on Facebook right now, it says account restricted? So in this ecosystem of Meta and Instagram, half of them are going, yeah, it's been a hack. Let's fix it. Let's help this guy. The other half is like, nope, nothing fishy going on here. Why don't you guys shore up the breaks and the weak links in your ecosystem on the inside of your company? I understand your company might be very huge with a lot of employees, but you also earn billions of dollars, don't you? Pay people. And if there's not enough people there, then hire some. Stop skiving money off the top or whatever the hell else you're doing with that money. They reply back going, we do not believe there's been a compromise. No further action is required at this time. The police came here. They said there was a compromise. Bridget O'Donovan said there was a compromise. Instagram Verified said there was a compromise. Facebook.com/business/help. I'm like, no, sir, no. He's like, yes, that's the fastest way to get a reply. I'm like, that can't be the fastest way. There's no help button. There's no chat button. I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. I don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, there's a start chat button right there. I'm like, no, there isn't. No, there isn't. Maybe he's talking about creators with 500K followers or 5 million followers, and they have a separate account manager at Facebook. I'm not sure. I don't. But does that mean I don't exist? Or like just replying at any time in the day, right? The next day, 36 hours later, when you might be asleep, Joe has entered the chat. 10 minutes later, are we still connected? Oh, we're not connected. We're closing the case. Thank you. Like, what the fuck? Do you understand how human beings work? Do you understand why most people follow up on support tickets via email and not via the app itself? Are you actually expecting us to just sit there for 36 hours with an app? So because of your app's mistake, I'm paying extra. They were like, yep. I was like, good. Can you refund the money for one of the services? They were like, nope. I was like, why not? It's your mistake. And they were like, yep, we can't refund it. It's like, fantastic. A few days later, I was like, I'm still getting billed for both. And they were like, oh, of course you are. You signed up separately. Yeah, but your support rep, and here's the email, and I have screenshot proof of the email, said just sign up separately to Facebook and we'll bundle it together on the back end. I don't see a way on the back end of Instagram to link that new Facebook account under the bundle deal. Apparently, and this is something they should fix as well, only when you sign up via Facebook do you get to pick an Instagram account to bundle to the deal. You sign up via Instagram, you cannot bundle a Facebook account that's not yet verified to the deal. And I tagged everybody I could find on LinkedIn who worked in the Meta Singapore office. A few of them untagged themselves, which is also very strange. I would never do that if I worked in a company and one of my customers was going, hey, this was a bad experience. I would never untag myself. I don't know why they did that. Maybe they just don't feel loyal to their customers. Maybe they don't feel the pull towards customer service. Maybe they feel like they'll be showcased in a bad light. But honestly, if you work for a company that's doing bad things to people, then you at some point would be showcased in a bad light. That's just part of the job. You don't get to just go in there, take your fat salary and go home and be like, yay, I got money for the family. Like, that's great. But, you have to deal with the customers too. That's how business works, in case nobody taught you, or you've never actually run a business outside your day job before. That's how business works. I'm a Singapore citizen. They're set up in my country. They're making me pay a fee and not giving me the support I deserve after paying that fee. Not because I'm saying that I'm entitled to support or let's start a new feature called support because of Singaporean paid fees. I'm saying it says that on the advertising. It says enhanced support. You're not giving me support. You're not letting me talk to anybody in your company right now, although they're just sitting up there. This almost sounds like it's out of a Rush Hour Hong Kong gangster movie where it's like, yeah, we messed with you, but you can't talk to us now. We're sitting behind closed doors. Shoo. What does that mean? How is this being allowed to happen to Singapore citizens or any citizens? I'm sure all countries feel the same way. What's going on here? Like, why are we allowing Meta to do this? And just straightforwardly, because I like being straightforward, Meta, why are you doing this? It's not just a problem. It's not like this is an ice cream stall and I'm like, oh, the ice cream's rotten or whatever. It's much worse because this is a recurring fee. That's the first thing. And second is we build our businesses and our lives in social posts and sort of our customer base on these platforms. So if you don't let me back access to all that, you're basically removing my cumulative work for the last 5 to 10 years. That's a little ridiculous, isn't it? I am a paying customer of your verified service, which says enhance your support, enhance your reach, enhance everything. Great, let's do it. So now you're taking my money as a Singapore citizen. A foreign company is coming to our country, taking our money and saying, when it's time for support, oh, we can't help you. The support team's in another country. Does that sound helpful? If you're going to set up a big company in Singapore, you, on some level, should extend the courtesy of helping out their citizens as well. I think that's just basic common sense, basic human decency. And they were like, oh, is it? I'm like, you don't know? You're sitting here giving this brochure out to people. It's a useless link because it says facebook.com/business/help, which is available on the first page of Google. You don't need to give us a brochure printed out on paper and cutting trees down and all that, and give me a URL that's available on the first page of Google, which is of no use to anybody unless you have a very big ad account. They're like, you're not the first one. I'm like, I'm not the first one. Wow. So this is a recurring problem. I wrote that on Facebook. I said, my dad just asked me, why do I have to put everything on Facebook? I don't think they understand the work that we're doing here online. Somebody else replied as a comment and said, let your dad know that if not for your posts, I would have jumped off a building by now. So this is the kind of person I am. And there are hundreds of people like this around the world. And I think if we're supporting both your platform and these people through your platform, I can safely say, unabashedly, that we're doing good work. Hi, my name is Zephyr, and I never thought I'd be here outside Meta's office, sitting here, trying to get their attention, just to get access to my own business. But after weeks of emails, support chats with Insta verified and Meta verified, internal escalations, I'm still locked out, and I've been ignored. So I'm here, in person. This isn't about drama. This is about accountability from a tech giant that creators like me depend on to survive. Let me walk you through exactly what happened. And I can even provide the case IDs and so on. I'm going to be looking down quite a bit onto my screen so I can give you the exact account of exactly what happened without missing out any important details. Some time ago in March 2025, my Facebook account was hacked into via a phishing email. Meta has contacted me via their internal recruitment service, Meta Careers, which I believe I first accessed 5 to 6 years back, when I was slightly younger and looking for a job. And so they have your details on file and they contact you once in a while. A recruiter would contact you when your career path and details match what they're looking for with their vacancy that they want people to apply to. Now, because this kind of email had appeared to me before and because I had been on interviews with Facebook before, it didn't seem out of the ordinary that I got another email from them which said, we'd like you to apply for this job. I believe it was communications or something to that effect. And I was like, yeah, that makes total sense based on my resume and CV. In corporate, I've been the head of marketing for different startups in Singapore, some of which were even apps which have now gone global and even been listed, if I'm not wrong, on the NASDAQ, which is a strange thing for a Singapore company to do, but sure, maybe they have big goals. In my own freelancing work and my own music degree, and after that, I did a lot of marketing and was always running the content and the marketing and the branding for different things, organizing video shoots, photo shoots, creating banners for events, in charge of all the marketing, on-ground marketing, online marketing, and so on. And more recently, my entire work since COVID actually has depended on online marketing and getting clients for the different courses I teach and the different things I teach. It started out very humbly as drum lessons from about 2009 when I entered my music degree to 2019, about 10 years straight of teaching drums privately and in schools. But for the private side, of course, as a music teacher, you've got to get clients. So I used social media to great effect. And I was always very fascinated by the concept of Facebook pages, groups, and what this means. And I thought these were great products, and they are. It didn't seem out of the ordinary to me when somebody reached out via a phishing email, which I didn't know was a phishing email at the time. And they said, sign into your Meta Careers page here to sort of lock down this interview. And for that, they had me type my username and password on this online form, which looked exactly like the Meta Careers page. Some of you might be like, why would you type your username and password? Because the funny thing is, when there was actual interviews by Meta a few years ago in Meta Careers, I actually did have to type in my name and password. That's how you access Meta Careers, their page. And because these internal pages have very complicated URLs, you'll see like meta.com/job site// like 100 slashes, right? The layperson like you or me might not know whether that was an official Meta site or not an official Meta site. So I keyed in that, and momentarily after I keyed in that, a screen flashed and said, this user account is disabled. And I was like, what? Disabled? And then immediately there was a change of screen, and it said, thank you for logging in, pick an appointment slot, blah, blah, blah. I even got a Calendly email, and I use Calendly myself, to my mailbox saying, this is your interview and it's been fixed. I think I seem to see something like what looks like a security person heading my way, but let me see if they let me keep filming. That happened. Now, after that happened and I had set up the interview, it started to become apparent to me that I had been hacked into because I could not access my Facebook the next morning. As I usually do when I wake up, I do some kind of morning routine sometimes. Sometimes I go straight to socials, depending. All my days are kind of different. Although they center around wellness and social media, every day is different. So I logged in. I tried clicking the Facebook icon on my phone and it wouldn't log in. And I got some sort of a notification saying, is this you trying to sign in? You've been logged out, the usual. And I found out very quickly that to verify if it was me actually trying to log in, what they would do they would send a notification to my Instagram. I could not log into my Instagram as well because what the hackers had done was to enter my Facebook, unlink my Instagram from my Facebook in the account center, and there was no way I can get into either, and there's no third Meta service, right? There's Facebook, there's Instagram, and it ends there. If somebody's trying to hack this, they send this one a notification. Someone's trying to hack this, they send that one a notification, I presume, because that's what happened when I tried to log into my Facebook. I'm not sure if the opposite is true for Instagram and Facebook as well. But when I tried to get into Facebook, they said, we've sent your Instagram account a notification, which I could not log into. So my immediate first thought was, let us go quickly to verified help, because I was verified on both platforms. In the past, you could only be verified or get a blue tick if you were famous, right? As recently as about a month ago in 2025, this is July, in about June, my cousin who is famous in India, she's a Bollywood actress, she, came down to, together with my mom, go for a visit to Spain. And so she touched base in Singapore for a bit. And she was like, oh, you pay for Meta Verified? I was like, yeah, well, what do you do? She's like, oh, I just got a blue tick because I'm famous. I was like, okay, which is, it's true. That's how it used to be. And now people pay for Meta Verified. So I was like, let's go to Meta Verified and get some help. But I couldn't log into Meta Verified the moment I clicked. I also got a notification, I believe in my email or somewhere, or the Facebook screen, which wouldn't let me log in, but it still shows you the notifications or something for some reason. I got a notification saying a Facebook and Instagram verified, a Meta Verified refund is on the way. And I only had one plan because it was a bundle plan for both accounts. So that notification came to one place. Now I don't know which one it was or whether it was email, but because that was now coming to 4 months ago, April, May, June, July, 4 months ago. And but there was a notification. So there was no way I could get verified chat as well. So there's no way for me to get help because, in case you're unaware, if you're not a Meta Verified user, you do not have any access to any chat. As a normal Facebook or Instagram user, you have no access to chat. And so any help or any support on this global giant tech platform, which in one sense, on one hand, sounds rather absurd, and on the other hand, kind of makes sense because they do have 1 billion users. So where they're going to get chat reps and support reps for like 1 billion users, you know what I mean? It kind of made sense, but it didn't really make sense because I wouldn't be able to get support anywhere. And so what ended up happening was I actually came down to Meta over here in Marina One West Tower, and I talked to the guys at the bottom, and they were wearing like Facebook blazers, very nice blazers, which says Facebook or Meta on the sign. I said, I need to go up to the office to speak to somebody. They were like, regarding what? I said, I've been locked out of my accounts. I'm verified. I'm a public figure in Singapore. I've been featured in the newspapers. I've acted on primetime TV. I run groups with local musicians trying to post their stuff on Facebook. I'm the admin, and so on and so forth. Like, I'm a mini public figure, like not a very famous public figure, but a public figure nonetheless. And so they were like, oh, we can't let you up. And I was like, okay. I was like, so get somebody down to, to talk to me. And then they were like, no, we can't get anybody to talk to you. I'm like, so what is your proposition? Because I'm a paying customer and I can't access the support chat because I've been locked out. And they were like, oh, we were instructed to give you this. And they give us this brochure. They're like, you're not the first one. I'm like, I'm not the first one. Wow. So this is a recurring problem. And they're like, yeah. And they're like, we're instructed to give you this, a very nice, pretty looking meta brochure. No doubt very nicely designed by the design and communication team, but not much use otherwise, other than the design, because it says facebook.com/business/help, which is available on the first page of Google. You don't need to give us a brochure printed out on paper and cutting trees down and all that. Let's not go into that topic for a second. And give me a URL that's available on the first page of Google, which is of no use to anybody, unless you have a very big ad account. They were like, you just need to try this. I'm like, I'll try it in front of you. I and other creators around the world have tried this link 1,000 times and it doesn't work. It doesn't really do anything. And they were like, oh, is it? I'm like, you don't know? You're sitting here giving this brochure out to people. It is a useless link. And they were like, they were like, can you try it with us? I was like, sure. So we tried that link. Click here if you think your account's been hacked, blah, 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 blah. Go through the steps and they say, we've sent a notification to Instagram. I'm like, great, I don't have my Instagram because they unlinked it and they refunded verified. Now, I'm not sure if the refund of verified was the hackers being smart and going, oh, if this guy gets access to verified chat, he'll be able to kick us out. So let's refund the verified. Or if Meta smartly removed the verified access the moment they realized it has been hacked, right? But that second story doesn't exactly work in their favor because fast forward to today, they're insisting I've not been hacked. Let me come to that plot twist in a bit. So after that happened, I was furious and I was like, as a Singapore citizen, you're setting up office, right, in one of our buildings here. Meta is not a Singaporean company, okay? And yes, I do teach about spirituality and how all the world is one and so on and so forth. But nevertheless, we are being made to pay taxes in Singapore, right? Every taxpayer deserves to know where their money is going. If you're going to set up a big company in Singapore, you, on some level, should extend the courtesy of helping out their citizens as well. I think that's just basic common sense, basic human decency. They kept insisting, oh, we can't really help you talk to anybody upstairs in our support because the support team is in another country. I was like, good, get somebody upstairs to call the support team. I'm a Singapore citizen. I'm a public figure, right? I've acted on primetime TV. I release music in Singapore. I am a paying customer of your verified service, which says, enhance your support, enhance your reach, enhance everything. Great, let's do it. So now you're taking my money as a Singapore citizen. A foreign company is coming to our country, taking our money and saying when it's time for support, oh, we can't help you. The support team's in another country. Does that sound helpful? I mean, I've worked in plenty of companies before, like I told you at the start of this video. I worked in the top nightlife chain in Singapore, set up by two people from New York, and they were very polite to us employees most of the time. My dad's worked in F&B for 30 years. He's a PR, I'm a citizen. He's very polite to all the Singapore citizens. And most of the immigrants I know in Singapore and foreigners I know in Singapore are very nice people. So why is this, I don't think this is a foreigner problem. Is it a Meta problem? I'm not sure. Perhaps it is. Why are you refusing to help people when they show up at your office? Shouldn't the first thing be, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Let's see how we can figure it out. Is that not basic decency? Human decency? I mean, is this strange? Am I speaking, some weird alien language that you don't understand? So that happened and I got furious and I said, I'm calling the police. And the security guys at the bottom were like, you're actually well within your rights to call the police. Go ahead and call the police. We can't do anything else, but we can let you call the police. Go for it. So I called the police. The police came here and they were like, what seems to be the matter? And I said, I'm a Singapore citizen. This is a company that's providing a service for a fee and they don't have customer support ready to help us when there's a problem. And it's not just a problem. It's not like this is an ice cream stall and I'm like, oh, the ice cream's rotten or whatever. It's much worse because this is a recurring fee. That's the first thing. And second is we build our businesses and our lives in social posts and sort of our customer base on these platforms. So if you don't let me back access to all that, you're basically removing my cumulative work for the last 5 to 10 years. That's a little ridiculous, isn't it? And I was, to be honest, a little disappointed with the Singapore police force because they seemed more interested. And eventually I realized they had a point too, but they were more interested in trying to find the hackers on the phishing email. They were like, how did you get hacked? At this point, I didn't know there was a phishing email, and I didn't know that that career email was a phishing email. And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought back, and we rewinded, and I realized, oh, that was a phishing email. And they showed it to me, like they were like, this was probably the email that caused the problem. I was like, oh, okay. And they were like, why don't you cancel your bank cards? So we did that. And true enough, a few days later, as I was scrolling on my phone, I found out, after I got my account back, which is later on in the story, that the hackers had indeed tried to run some advertisements for, I don't know, whatever product they were selling, but probably using my payment method on file so they don't have to pay the money. So the police were more interested in that. And I was like, okay, I get that. Thanks for investigating. They were like, we will investigate. I'm like, guys, there's 8 billion humans on the planet. What are you going to investigate? Somebody behind a laptop? You're never going to find them. Then they were like, okay, so why did you call us here? I was like, I called you here because this company I'm a Singapore citizen. They're set up in my country. They're making me pay a fee and not giving me the support I deserve after paying that fee. Not because I'm saying that I'm entitled to support or let's start a new feature called support because of Singaporean paid fees. I'm saying it says that on their advertising. It says enhanced support. You're not giving me support. You're not letting me talk to anybody in your company right now, although they're just sitting up there. This almost sounds like it's out of a Rush Hour Hong Kong gangster movie where it's like, yeah, we messed with you, but you can't talk to us now. We're sitting behind closed doors. Shoot, what does that mean? How is this being allowed to happen to Singapore citizens or any citizens? I'm sure all countries feel the same way. What's going on here? Like, why are we allowing Meta to do this? And just straightforwardly, because I like being straightforward, Meta, why are you doing this? It sounds a little ridiculous. Here's what happened after that. I wrote a post on LinkedIn, and I said and I tagged everybody I could find on LinkedIn who worked in the Meta Singapore office. A few of them untagged themselves, which is also very strange. I would never do that if I worked in a company and one of my customers was going, hey, this was a bad experience. I would never untag myself. I don't know why they did that. Maybe they just don't feel loyal to their customers. Maybe they don't feel the pull towards customer service. Maybe they feel like they'll be showcased in a bad light. But honestly, if you work for a company that's doing bad things to people, then you at some point would be showcased in a bad light. That's just part of the job. You don't get to just go in there, take your fat salary and go home and be like, yay, I got money for the family. Like, that's great. But, you have to deal with the customers too. That's how business works, in case nobody taught you, or you've never actually run a business outside your day job before. That's how business works. Eventually, this lady called Bridget O'Donovan, which I believe is the head of communications, at least that's what it says on LinkedIn, she was very helpful. And she said, I'm so sorry you're going through a hard time. And that's when I was like, oh my God, praise humanity. This somebody who actually understands or sounds like a human being is replying. And she said, I'm going to escalate this internally. And it took a couple of days there. And at the same time, what I did after leaving this place, after the police left, was to use one of my other hobby Instagram accounts, sign up for Meta Verified there, just so I could get access to Meta Verified chat. Told them about the main account, which was my name, Zephyr Kambata, which had been hacked. They were like, oh, we're so sorry, we'll do our best. So they were on it for about 2-3 days, and Bridget's team, I believe, was on it for 2-3 days. And so 2-3 days later, she wrote back and she said, 1.5 days or something like that later, she wrote back and she said, can you provide me an email address that you've never used with Meta before? I was like, great. So I provided her another email address I use, which was good in a sense because I've been trying to change my email address for a long time because the old email address was linked to an old company which was no longer in existence. And Facebook wouldn't let me change the email for some reason. They were like, nope, once you sign up for Facebook, that's the email. I'm like, okay. Like every other tech company in the world will allow you to change your email address on file, but Meta won't. Okay, that's another thing they need to fix at some point. So I gave them the email address. Now I'm not sure if it was Bridget's team or the support team from the other Insta Verified that I signed up for, which I had to sign up for and pay $18 for just to get access to chat to help. I'm not sure which team got there first, but it happened. And eventually I managed to get my Facebook and Instagram account back, set up two-step verification, and I was so over the moon. And then the problems started. So these are the problems that started. Firstly, I was so excited to get it back that I went and verified the Instagram again. Then I realized, I'm paying $18 Singapore for that. And then the Facebook one's left unverified. So I wrote to that verified chat of my main account now, Zephyr Kambata. First, I had to unverify the other account. Obviously, why would I want to pay for the extra hobby account now? So I unverified that, wrote to them and said, I want to sign up for the Facebook verified as well. I don't see a way on the back end of Instagram to link that new Facebook account under the bundle deal. Apparently, and this is something they should fix as well, only when you sign up via Facebook do you get to pick an Instagram account to bundle to the deal. You sign up via Instagram, you cannot bundle a Facebook account that's not yet verified to the deal, which is ridiculous. Very strange. They were like, oh yes, just sign up for the Facebook verified as well. So $18 recurring on different billing dates. So let's say it's like this, it keeps going. And they were like, we'll just link it together on the back end and only charge you the bundle rate, which is the price of one or slightly higher than one. And I was like, great. So I did that and I kept getting billed for both. So I wrote them back and I was like, a few days later, and I was like, I'm still getting billed for both. And they were like, oh, of course you are. You signed up separately. It's like, oh boy, here we go. And then I was like, yeah, but your support rep, and here's the email, and I have screenshot proof of the email, said just sign up separately to Facebook and we'll bundle it together on the back end. And then they were like, oh yeah, that's not possible. I was like, that's what I thought, and that's why I wrote in to ask you. And your support rep said, we'll just bundle it together on the back end. And that support rep goes, do you have proof of that? And I was like, of course. There's no way in Singapore I operate legally to do anything that concerns money without proof. Nobody does. Because it's Singapore. Everything's proofed, documented, everything's, by the book. At least that's the way my dad taught it to me. And that's what I did. And I showed it to them and they were like, oh, we're so sorry about this. It turns out, yeah, we can't do that. I was like, great. So because of your app's mistake, I'm paying extra. They were like, yep. I was like, good. Could you refund the money for one of the services? They were like, nope. I was like, why not? It's your mistake. And they were like, yep, we can't refund it. It's like, fantastic. So they were like, wait for the end of both billing cycles. Obviously, one will lapse before the other. And then sign up via Facebook again. And then this time sign up via Facebook and then link both. I was like, cool. I didn't do that because the waiting time for the month to end was a bit long. And I should have done that. But we're also in the middle of home renovation. And I also have a daughter. And I plan to be a present father, not an absent father. That's the whole point of spiritually awakening on this planet at this time. It's to build a more conscious, loving planet for everyone. I wrote back in with the Facebook verified now, or the Insta verified, I forget which. I wrote back, but I do have all the case IDs as proof. So if an investigation manager from Meta finally wants to look through the whole thing, they can. It's all in the Insta verified support cases. And I asked them, because I realized after a while that my Facebook pages I no longer had access to. So while I got my profile back on Facebook and my Instagram back on Instagram, and both are verified, and the Facebook one is a professional creator profile, right? It's a creator profile and it's been verified, right? I said to them, can I get the pages back? And they were like, we're gonna do our best. And then they would just take like a week here and a week there and a week here and a week there. I don't get the pages back. They keep escalating, trying to escalate. I open a new support case each time because they have this nasty habit of just replying at any time in the day, right? The next day, 36 hours later when you might be asleep, and go, hi, this is Joe. Joe has entered the chat. 10 minutes later, are we still connected? Oh, we're not connected. We're closing the case. Thank you. Like, what the fuck? Do you understand how human beings work? Do you understand why most people follow up on support tickets via email and not via the app itself? Are you actually expecting us to just sit there for 36 hours with an app? I mean, does anybody in that team even think the UX of this entire platform is blowing my mind right now? And now I understand why famous creators and rich people have teams. And maybe one day when I become rich, I'll have a team too. But in the meantime, nobody's going to sit there for 36 hours, right? That doesn't make any sense. This continued for a while. And then finally, one guy who came on the Instagram chat, he was like, you do realize you're contacting me on Instagram for these missing pages. And the missing pages in question were my name, my actual name, Zephyr Kambata, two of my companies, which are registered in Singapore, And the names of the pages are the exact names of the companies, making it very easy to identify that I'm the rightful owner of those pages. Thankfully, it's not something weird or fishy. So one of those company pages is called 3-Part Human, and the other one's called 3-Part Human Records for the music arm because we release music. It's not like the registered company in Singapore is 3-Part Human, but the page name is Zephyr is Awesome Music or some weird shit like that. That would be very hard to trace. Luckily, these are the exact names of the companies that are registered in Singapore. He says, so you do realize you're contacting me from Instagram? And I was like, yes, I am. And he's like, but these are Facebook pages. I was like, yeah, because the accounts are linked. How does it matter which verified I contact you from? Because in the past, they've been very helpful. When I contact them from Instagram, we can talk about the Facebook account. When I contact them from Facebook, we can talk about Instagram. That's the whole point of linking the two services into one. Is it not? I don't know. They never said so. They set a precedent by helping. So it's like, cool. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll contact Facebook this time. And I thought Facebook help would be better than Instagram help. Facebook's help seems more professional at the outset, but they seem to be a lot less helpful than Instagram in the end. I'm not sure if they have some sibling rivalry going on, and in the end, on the inside of these companies, only the employees would know. It's like, yeah, we're Facebook, we're Instagram. I don't know. But it makes for great entertainment, I bet. I contacted Facebook, and the Facebook verified, because now I'm verified on both and paying for both monthly, right? And Facebook says, I say, here are the pages, right? And I've been locked out of these pages during the hack. And so the first support rep that comes in says, is this related to Business Manager? And I say, it is related to Facebook. It is related to Business Manager. So I assume, because basically I'm just asking for access for the 3 pages again. So is it related to Business Manager? Yes, it is. It's related to Business Manager in a way. And then they say, okay, since it's related to Business Manager, we will hook you up with our business support team. I was like, great, please do that. It sounds even more professional. I'm like, great. Then once Facebook Business Manager's support rep finds out what the problem is, they decide to give you a call, which is always great, better than chatting, because typing is, I don't know any entrepreneurs who type. Everybody calls. It's faster to speak. And I don't understand a lot of younger folk who are like, why don't you type it? Like, why would you type it? If you're an entrepreneur, you speak it. It's way faster. So that's the whole reason voice dictation exists. They didn't invent it for fun. There must have been a reason. That's the reason. It's faster. He calls me and he says, sir, what are the pages? And I say, it's Zephyr Kambata, it's 3-Part Human, and it's 3-Part Human Records. And he actually goes, and I say, I can see Zephyr Kambata and 3-Part Human on Facebook right now, as myself as the user, Zephyr Kambata's user profile, but I don't have access to them. I can't switch into them. So on Facebook nowadays, after a lot of revamping of their platform, they finally realized over the years that they got to make switching between profiles easy on the top right. Thank God somebody flagged that to them. That makes more sense than their previous system. Use it as a page, use it as a profile, that was driving everybody nuts. So now you can just switch between your pages and profiles, and that's wonderful. However, I cannot see 3-Part Human Records. It looks like it's been deleted. The guy on the phone, and his name was Aman, A-M-A-N, he says, sir, I can see 3-Part Human Records just fine. And it's in that same Business Manager you're talking about. I was like, oh, great. I organized my things well in the past. Now I have no way of checking because I'm locked out of the Business Manager. I don't even see that Business Manager. The Facebook, like business.facebook.com, I don't see that particular Business Manager. And if you guys are going, what do you mean that particular Business Manager? You mean there's multiple business managers? Yes, there is. I really don't understand Facebook's business system at the back end. But okay, there's multiple business managers. He's like, I see it. And you're right. You're not an admin of any of this. You're not an admin in the Business Manager anymore. I was like, exactly. They must have removed me so they could use my ad account. And he was like, right, yeah, that's making sense. Obviously, that's what happened now. And I was like, great. And he's like, good. Can you write this letter and we'll escalate it to our internal business team? In that letter, put your IC, your passport, your company registrations. They have everything now from me. They have my full Singapore name, my Singapore ID, my Singapore passport number, my birth date, everything you can see on the first page of the passport. None of it's been hidden. I just sent it to them wholesale. They have my company registrations in Singapore. And I very clearly followed every single step he told me in the letter. And I'm no stranger to typing out things in a detailed, meticulous way. Okay, so in case anybody at Meta is doubting my intelligence or, oh, maybe he fudged up the letter. No, I did not. I applied for a Canadian PR with similar letter writing skills, and we got the Canadian PR. Okay, and I also went to the best school in Singapore, just for your information. So there's no doubt on my academic capability of writing a letter. Okay? He says, this is great. He sees it. Of course, I send him the PDF in the chat. And he says, I'm going to send this to my business team. First, he's telling me about how after he ends that chat, I'm going to have to send that letter in to business chat. And he gives me that same link that the security guys here did, facebook.com/business/help. I'm like, no, sir, no. He's like, yes, that's the fastest way to get a reply. I'm like, that can't be the fastest way. There's no help button. There's no chat button. I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. I don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, there's a start chat button right there. I'm like, no, there isn't. No, there isn't. Maybe he's talking about creators with 500K followers or 5 million followers, and they have a separate account manager at Facebook. I'm not sure. I don't. But does that mean I don't exist? Like, come on. Okay. So I'm like, no, that's not the way. He's like, okay, fine. I'll hold the line. You can just send the PDF here. I'm like, thanks so much. He says, I'll leave the chat open while he does other, 2-3 hours. He does other support cases or whatever. I send it to the chat. He replies back 2 hours later and goes, after I put together the whole document, I stayed up till 4, 5 a.m. And he's like, yeah, great. I'll send it through. He sends it through. They reply back going, we do not believe there's been a compromise. No further action is required at this time. I'm like, the police came here. They said there was a compromise. Bridget O'Donovan said there was a compromise, right? She helped me internally, apparently. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know which team came back to me first. Instagram Verified said there was a compromise. Well, yeah, Instagram Verified at that time. My wife knows there's a compromise. Anybody with a brain can log into my Facebook. I can show it to you. I can do like screen recordings and show it to you. There's been a compromise. If you go to those pages, my own page, Zephyr Kambata, 3-Part Human and 3-Part Human Records, you will often see, if you scroll, you will see posts that have my face, this face, and my name signing off, going, love Zephyr, love Zephyr. If you go to the different platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and so on, you will see many of these posts duplicated there. Because I'm that hardworking as a creator, I post the same post on 8 platforms. So you can go there and see that. And you'll be able to realize that, oh yeah, it's the same guy posting across all his company accounts on all platforms. And if I'm telling you now, and I could show you on my backend, I can let you log in to my account. We can do it together while we're seated at a laptop. And I show you that I can't access these pages. Doesn't that mean there's been a compromise? And if there isn't a compromise, if I'm already inside the page, why would I ask you to restore access when I'm already inside the page? So clearly I'm not inside the page. And if you go, oh, maybe you gave it to these other people who, are using it now, the hackers. If you're Facebook and you're the platform, aren't you able to look at the history? Did I make somebody else the admin? Did I make them the admin? And if you say, oh, well, they logged in with your account and made themselves the admin, sure, fine. But send them a message. I'm willing to appear in front of you with my passport, my ID, and everything else. Like, here's my ID. I can show it to you right now. Here's my Singapore ID right now. That's my name. That's my birth date. That's me. With a lot more hair. Are they willing to appear in front of you? If they're not, what are they hiding? And does the ads they ran have anything to do with any of my previous products or services? I doubt so. So it's pretty obvious that they did that. And the other funny thing I forgot to mention is that before this, Instagram did tell me in one of those chats in one of those weeks when I was contacting them back after the hack, to say that, did they run any unauthorized ads in my account? They were like, nope, there's been no unauthorized expenditure. We can verify that. Like, great. Then how come when I log into my ad account on Facebook right now, it says account restricted? So in this ecosystem of Meta and Instagram, half of them are going, yeah, it's been a hack. Let's fix it. Let's help this guy. The other half is like, nope, nothing fishy going on here. Why don't you guys shore up the breaks and the weak links in your ecosystem on the inside of your company, right? I understand your company might be very huge with a lot of employees, but you also earn billions of dollars, don't you? Pay people. And if there's not enough people there, then hire some. Stop skiving money off the top or whatever the hell else you're doing with that money. Okay? It should be pretty easy to hire a few support reps to fix all this shit. And if it's not, I truly empathize with you. I've worked in companies that are truly clusterfucks as well. But hey, that's on you. I run my own company. You need to run yours. And also, I just like to add, Facebook recently sent me a notification on my profile, which I've been using to great effect since I don't have my pages, and says, you have consistently been publishing quality content. We're increasing your reach. If you have that much visibility on what I'm doing, can't you see posts on my page with the same name as my profile are the same posts up to a certain time, after which I got hacked and I've made no more posts since then? Does that not strike you as odd? That this guy stopped posting and right then he's asking, hey, I lost my page. Can you give me back some access? And you're like, no, no compromise has been made. No compromise happened. Wonderful. So I'd also like to state, this is some of the stuff I wrote down, that these aren't side projects or hobby pages. These are legally registered entities in Singapore tied to my name, my work, and my livelihood. I submitted every single thing they asked for, my NRIC, my passport, business UEN numbers, and the business profile, signed letters, and they asked me to sign on every page. Eventually, and even profile links to prove the identity, even the name of the business manager that I've been signed out of and the business manager ID. And you know what Meta came back with when I opened another ticket? Because the one with Aman unfortunately didn't work and they said no compromise. So I wrote back. And the guy, again, I get escalated to the business team calls. By the way, from the time you start the chat to the time the business team calls is a good 1.5 hours of just sitting there like an idiot while you try to, of course, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm not that dumb. I try to clear other work in the meantime. But still, that's outside family time and civilized hours, because during civilized hours, I have to work on my own business, service my own clients, and spend time with my own family. So they write back. He calls me on the phone and he says, sir, I think I know why they didn't give you back your account. And I was like, why? And then the guy's like, because there's no logo on the letterhead. And I was like, there's no logo on the letterhead? What does that mean? He's like, oh, it's a plain white PDF with no logo on the letterhead. I'm like, it's a formal letter with signatures on every page, my business address, my name, IC number, everything. I was like, this is the exact kind of letter that got me a Canadian PR. So you're telling me it's good enough for the Canadian government to write letters like this from one of the top students in Singapore. It's not good enough for you guys. You need a logo. And he's like, yeah, if you put a logo, I'm quite sure you'll get your accounts back. This guy on the phone doesn't seem like he's on top of this matter at all, but he's trying his best to sound official. And I can respect that, and I can respect the hustle. But eventually that hustle came crashing down because it didn't work as well. And so I asked him, I said, you're telling me, like right now my daughter is 6. In a few years, she's going to have her own laptop. She's going to be putting freaking logos everywhere. She's like 6 and she wants to be a fashion designer. And you're telling me that if I just put a logo there of my company, which anybody can do, and type my company name at the top, that's going to make this a more official document, more official than the government of Singapore. A little Canva trick or a Microsoft Word trick is more official than the government of Singapore. Right. That's Meta's support team. And he's like, sir, why don't you, sir, I'm trying my best to help you, sir. I'm like, no, I get that, of course. I mean, I've been on a customer support role when I was starting my career out too. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. I'm going to do what you say. But I was also telling him, I like to coach people because I'm a coach. I was like, just think, does that even make sense? On this PDF that you're calling a plain piece of paper, there's already my IC, my passport with nothing hidden, my signatures, my ID number, the business manager ID number, the business manager name, the names of the 3 pages, the ID, the URLs of those pages, the business registration for these pages and companies, on 2 of them, of course, because the 3rd one is my name and I'm a human being. And you can Google me, that's the best part, and see that everything I'm saying is true. In fact, you might even bring up some Google articles on LinkedIn. You can see that I'm the owner of the 3-part human page, the 3-part human records page, and so on. He's like, yeah, sir, I think if you put that logo there and the name on top, that will make it very much more official. I was like, great. So I went to one of my company invoices to a client, copied the top, which is rather pretty, with the logo and the name and the address and everything, smacked it as the header on Microsoft Word, and sent it through. And I was like, is this better? He's like, this is great. I was like, great. They came back 2 days later. He was like, I'm very confident. I've spoken to my internal team. They're going to approve this. I'm very confident. I was like, wow, this guy's confident. Great. They came back 2 days later. We believe that there's no compromise on your pages. And then they sent another text to summarize. You send us a request regarding blah, blah, blah. And this is what we said. I was like, great. And each time those 2 reps wrote back for both of those Facebook cases, when they said no compromise has been made, there was actually a header in that message that was text above the part where it said that, where it says, you may use this legal language with your client. Implying that they literally copy-pasted that. I'm not saying it's wrong to copy-paste. We all copy-paste. I mean, what's wrong with copy-pasting, literally? But the fact that they put that phrase in there either shows how high a caseload they have, in which case, why are they being underpaid and overworked, or maybe just overworked, to the point that they can't provide satisfactory service, or why are you hiring people who don't know what they're doing? I don't know which it is right now. I don't know if it is they don't know what they're doing, or they're overworked, or Meta, you guys have something against me. In my entire history of graduating school and working and being on Facebook since about 2004, I believe when we were in junior college, that's when I started. In my friend circles, I'm known as the Facebook guy. I actually help people get on Facebook. I actually help people find clients through Facebook. Like, teach them how to do it and how to market like I do. And the editor of, for example, Today Online in Singapore has told me and has said publicly of me, this guy he said it on radio in Myanmar when we were on a radio tour promoting a single. He said, this guy is a head built for marketing. I don't understand. When I'm bringing you this much traffic, helping you this much, setting up groups with over 6,000 members inside, helping the community in Singapore, and being the Facebook guy, and even being offered jobs at Facebook before and being called up for interviews, what do you have against me? Exactly. And if it's not that you have something against me, then can somebody get a hold on this whole issue? Let's stop the bullshit now so I can proceed to help you and me continue life on Facebook. When the guy himself on the phone is saying, I can see you don't have access, right? So my question to you is, how can your own team say that on the phone, but your internal team closes the case and denies everything? How does that even make sense? So I'd also like to explain a little bit about who I am. I'm not some anonymous spammer trying to grab access. I'm a real human being, a Singaporean creator, teacher, father, and I've acted on primetime TV. I've released singles. I've taught music. I've built courses. One of them is selling on my website right now, zephyrkambata.com/courses. I run one of Singapore's largest Facebook groups for local music. It's called Singapore Music. Facebook.com/groups/Singapore Music. It's available at the URL. I've used your platform to build my business, serve my audience, and help people grow. And now I'm locked out of all of it. And 3Part Human, we're about to launch a new website interviewing and featuring some of the top creative people on planet Earth, including many of them from Singapore, in the wellness space, in the mind, body, spirit space, and people who change lives for a living. I've never spent 6 figures on ads. I've never had a dedicated rep, but I've spent my time, my energy, my voice, and used my face, and that apparently counts for nothing. So, I don't know, that's pretty annoying. The part that really hits home for me so far, and what I'm gathering, is that if you're not a multi-million-dollar ad spender, Meta doesn't really care. There's no human support, there's no one you can talk to, no system of accountability, just a loop of bots, outsourced reps, and contradictory instructions. And that's not just frustrating, it's destructive. Meta tells creators like me, use our platform to grow your business, reach your audience, build a brand. But when something breaks and when access is stolen, suddenly no one's responsible. And you're just left outside the building, talking to security guards, being handed a printed brochure with a useless URL. What are we supposed to do? Just accept that we lost everything? That's why I'm here today. Because I've done everything right. I followed the rules, I submitted every document, and still, no one in Meta has resolved this. So I'm showing up here publicly because I'm done begging quietly. This next part was written by ChatGPT. I think they're pretty good at writing. Here's what they say. Meta Singapore. If you can't help, say who can. Tag them. Escalate. Like actually escalate. Not to a team who's actually lousier than the rep on the phone. That part was written by me. Don't hide behind departments. You're not a vending machine. You're people. That's fucking crazy. ChatGPT cracks me up every time. This is about, I don't know what that one actually means, but it's funny. This is about basic dignity for small creators. This is about business owners, teachers, and professionals being treated like real humans, not ignored just because we don't spend thousands a month on ads. This is day one. I'm going to keep showing up every day until someone at Meta acknowledges this case or tells me who can. Oh, by the way, I wrote to Bridget saying that this stuff, I haven't had access to my pages. And she again replied like a human being and said, I'm so sorry this is still happening. I'll escalate a ticket internally. I hope she has, but even if she hasn't, I don't think that's her job. I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that's not her job based on her job title, or at least what it says on LinkedIn. My question then becomes, whose job is it really? This isn't just my story. It's the story of every small creator who's been failed by the very system they helped build. So if you've ever been locked out, shut down, or ghosted by a tech platform you relied on, follow this, share this. You're not alone, and this silence cannot go unchallenged. Pretty dramatic from ChatGPT, but I must say I agree. That's why I'm here. Let me know when you're done. It says, let me know when you're done filming. I'll prep the YouTube title, description, and a press kit if you're ready. Oh yeah, this is going to the press, by the way. I'm not sure they'll pick it up, but if they do, great. They're championing the small creator and the human being who looks for another path when the corporate 9-to-5 is not for them. While the 9-to-5 works great for some people, not every human is built that way. Diversity and inclusion is not just about hiring people with different skin colors in your companies. It's about understanding as a species that not everyone works well from 9-to-5 and not everyone fits into a box. And not only the people who fit into boxes are the ones who deserve to be valued and taken care of. In fact, a large number of healers, teachers, guides, public speakers, trainers, coaches, therapists, and business owners who support the community and the world, including their mental health, their spiritual growth, their life success, and their balance in life, all work hours which are not 9-to-5. And not everybody's famous. So if you just start ignoring those of us who are not famous, which is the majority of us, very soon the world might go into an even deeper mental health crisis when the people who are holding it all together get mentally screwed because of things like this. And this is just one of the things. As we all know, there's a lot of shit going on planet Earth right now. Maybe you want to think about doing what needs to be done and helping people who need help, especially people who are juggling families and businesses and communities and clients and patients and clients and patients like I am, who confide to us that, hey, if it wasn't for you today, I'm going to jump off a building. I was going to jump off a building. Somebody's written that on my Facebook wall before. When my dad asked, why do you have to put everything on Facebook? This was 3-4 years ago when I had a bit of friction with my parents. And they just couldn't for the life of them understand. They're from that generation like, oh, don't share anything publicly. Oh, they were like, why do you got to put everything on Facebook? So I got so pissed. I wrote that on Facebook. I said, my dad just asked me, why do I have to put everything on Facebook? I don't think they understand the work that we're doing here online. Somebody else replied as a comment and said, let your dad know that if not for your posts, I would have jumped off a building by now. So this is the kind of person I am. And there are hundreds of people like this around the world. And I think if we're supporting both your platform and these people through your platform, I can safely say, unabashedly, that we're doing good work. I think you'd agree. And so if you do agree, please do something about this, because I'm going to show up tomorrow on day 2. I really like Marina One. I could show up here every day in hot desk upstairs at Just Go. I love this place. In fact, I did used to have an office at Just Go when I was building out my first course in 2020. Also through Facebook, I marketed it out. So I'm just going to keep showing up. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. No, it doesn't. Sorry, just channeling my inner Jim Carrey there. But yeah, please do something about this. And whether you do something about it or you don't, this story is now going to go out to every news platform I can send it out to in Singapore and beyond. This is a technical flaw in your system that needs to be fixed. and the common man, aka me, and thousands around the world, and you can search Reddit posts and forum posts. It's full of people like me who are trying to just do their jobs and their businesses and serve humanity, and are wondering why is it so fucking hard in 2025 to click support, talk to a human being, and get a fucking answer. See you on day 2. Bye-bye.